All right, let's talk about something really frustrating. You know that feeling when you're crushing it at work, you're solving the hard problems, you're delivering, and somehow that makes you a target? It's this bizarre, backward situation where the better you are, the more you seem to get pushed to the side. Well, today we're going to get right into why that happens, and more importantly, what you can actually do about it. So, does this sound familiar? You're brilliant at your job, you're the go-to person, the one who actually knows their stuff, but you're feeling sidelined. Maybe you're getting blamed for things that are definitely not your fault, or you just feel invisible. If you're sitting there nodding along, listen, you are not crazy and you're definitely not alone. There's actually a name for this whole phenomenon. Let's give this thing a name, shall we? It's called the smart person's paradox. And honestly, just hearing that should be a huge relief. Why? Because it proves this isn't just you. It's not some personal failing. It's a real, recognized dynamic where the smartest, most hardworking people can, ironically, become the most vulnerable. So let's dig into the nuts and bolts of why this actually happens. Okay, so why? Why does being good at your job put a target on your back? Well, here's the twist. The root of the problem is almost never about your actual ability. In fact, it's often because you're so good. The real issue is hiding in the messy, complicated, and often invisible world of office social dynamics. Let's break down the three biggest reasons this happens. All right, reason number one, perception gaps. This one is huge. This is all about how your best intentions, your laser focus on getting the job done right and being efficient, get totally twisted and misinterpreted by everyone else. What you see is just, being direct and effective. Others can see as something else entirely. And this really lays it out perfectly. It's like there are two completely different operating systems running in the office. On one side, you've got the high IQ focus. That's probably you, right? You care about results, logic, blunt truths, just getting to the right answer. But then there's the political reality. And in that world, perception is everything, egos are incredibly fragile, and relationships matter more than the data. When your world crashes into theirs, your blunt truth can feel like a direct hit. And man, does that bruise some egos. And this is where the labels come from. You think you're just being correct, but they see you as arrogant. You think you're just fixing a broken process, but they call you a troublemaker. It's because without that layer of social padding, your directness gets read as a negative. And that perception, whether it's fair or not, starts to become your reality at work. Okay, let's move on to reason number two. And this one is, well, it's a bit more primal. We're talking about threat dynamics. See, your competence doesn't just get misunderstood, it can actually genuinely make other people feel insecure. And you know what happens when people feel threatened? They get defensive, fast. And this threat pops up in a few key ways. First, you just flat out outshine your peers, and that can make them feel less than. Second, when you solve a problem in 5 minutes that's been bugging everyone for weeks, you might accidentally highlight your own manager's weaknesses. And finally, your drive to constantly make things better, that disrupts the comfy, cozy status quo that a lot of people cling to. So without even trying, you basically become a walking billboard for other people's insecurities. And here's the real kicker, the thing you have to remember. When people target you, it's almost never really about you. It's a defense mechanism. It's about them. By painting you as the problem or sidelining you, they're just trying to protect their own ego, their own standing. Once you get that, it's a lot easier not to take it all so personally. All right, and our third and final reason is all about the system itself. We're talking about structural blind spots. This isn't just about people's feelings anymore. It's about how the very structure of office life can be set up to reward the wrong behaviors. Think about it. You've got your head down, you're deep in the weeds, actually solving the tough problems. Meanwhile, other people are spending their time managing perceptions, networking, and making sure everyone knows how busy they are. Your amazing work, it becomes invisible because you're not out there shouting about it. And even worse, because you're the responsible one, you become the easiest person to pin the blame on when something goes sideways. It's a perfect trap. Okay, I know that all sounds kind of depressing, but here's the good news. Just understanding the game is half the battle. Now that we've diagnosed the problem, we can talk about the solution. It's time to stop being a target and start being a strategist. So here it is, your 6-step protection plan. Let's run through these. First, develop political awareness. Start paying attention to who really has power, not just who has the fancy title. Second, and this is non-negotiable, document your work. Leave a paper trail of your wins. 3 and 4 are all about people. Build allies so you've got backup, and learn diplomatic communication. 5, Align with goals. Make sure everyone sees how your awesome work helps the company win. And finally, number 6 ties it all together. Develop your EQ, your emotional intelligence, right alongside your IQ. Let's zoom in on that communication piece because it's a game changer. Look at the difference here. Instead of just pointing out a mistake, which feels like an attack, you frame it as an opportunity. Instead of calling someone out in a big meeting, you handle it tactfully, maybe in private. See, the core message doesn't change, but the delivery changes everything. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Ugh, so I have to be fake? I have to play these silly office games? And the answer is no. Absolutely not. That's not what this is about. Being emotionally intelligent doesn't mean you throw your principles out the window. It just means you're being strategic. It's about building a political shield to protect yourself so your actual talent can do the talking. So, what's the big takeaway from all of this? It's that the old playbook for success, just put your head down and do great work, is broken. Or at least it's incomplete. If you really want to succeed today, you have to redefine the rules of the game. Really, it all comes down to a simple formula. Having a high IQ but a low EQ makes you vulnerable. It's like having a supercar with no armor. But when you combine that high IQ with a high EQ, now you're protected. Now you're unstoppable. It's that combination that takes you from being just a smart person to being a truly effective person. So, at the end of the day, success isn't just about one thing. It's not just about being the smartest person in the room. Think of it like a three-legged stool. You need technical competence, that's one leg, but you also need political awareness and emotional intelligence. Those are the other two legs. If you're missing any one of them, the whole thing just topples over. And that brings us to the final and maybe most important question you need to ask yourself. Is your greatest strength, your intelligence, your incredible drive, your honesty, actually your biggest vulnerability at work? Really think about that, because answering that question is the first step to finally changing the game in your favor.